buying real estate in the city of Abuja, particularly, like every other person is buying, then you are leaving a lot of money on the table. Most people buy real estate and think that the profit is made when you buy and sell, right? When you just buy expensive property in town, or you feel like the biggest returns happens just when you just buy randomly and sell randomly. Of course, there's a profit margin there, but there's a strategy that very smart, intentional, buyers use, and these are the things we'll be discussing today. We're going to be discussing, land banking strategies, right? That is proven to bring you maximum results that many property buyers have no idea about.
Great. So, one of the biggest misconceptions about land banking is that you simply buy land and wait 10 years.
Yes.
So, when people hear land banking, the first thing that comes to their mind is, oh, I just have to buy any land I see and then wait for, let's say, 10 to 15 years.
Yes.
Right? But that's not how most property buyers think, right? Land banking is not just about buying land and holding. It has to do with the right timing.
Yes.
It has to do about knowing when to enter, knowing what stage to enter, and knowing when to exit.
Definitely.
Right? And that's where the real profit is made. So before we get into those strategies today, let's quickly explain what land banking means.
Yes.
So land banking is simply the process where you acquire land and hold on to it with the expectation that the value of that land will increase over time,
Yes.
right? But here's what a lot of people do not realize. Two investors can buy land in the same location with the goal of land banking in mind, but they would, at the end of the day, have different results.
Definitely.
Why? It's simply because of timing. So
Yes.
timing is very, very important. So for our session today, we're going to start with the strategies that a lot of property buyers use right here in the city of Abuja.
The term land banking, I mean, you must have heard land banking, land banking, land banking. Um, land banking is not a real term, actually. It's just a phrase coined, like two words put together, land and bank. You know how you bank money put money in the bank?
Exactly.
Land banking, okay, so now put that money in the bank. That's basically what it is. And as much as I think Abuja real estate has a very unique and beautiful way of doing land banking that, favors the investor, so to say, right? And like we have rightly introduced, it's not about just buying and selling land. There are strategies that most land buyers have no idea about. So, for lack of a better word, and for the sake of understanding, we're just going to still go with the term land banking, right? So now there are two major strategies, land banking, strategies. The first is the short-term land banking. The second is the long-term, but we're just going to focus for the sake of this first point on the short-term land banking. Now, this particular strategy favors people that are looking for short-term returns. So I know there are a couple and when I say short-term, please, it is not you buy today, 2 months later, 60 days later, one problem, your cat has swallowed spoon. You now start calling that you want your money back. No, that's not how land works. And just to be clear, land is not as liquid as all those financial markets. So, and this is very important to state here.
Yeah.
As much as we say short-term land banking, it is not like the financial markets where you can just wake up in the morning and flip your investments. That doesn't really happen with land. With land, as much as we are calling it banking, there actually needs to be a selling process for you to be able to access your cash.
Exactly.
Land is not easily liquidated like other investment vehicles. As much as it is stable, profitable, and less risky, right?
Yes.
Is not also highly liquidated. So for the sake of today's session, again, And we're going to be talking about the first strategy, which is the short-term land banking, or if you like to say, the flipping strategy. Now, this is typically maybe between 1 to 2 years, kind of, or let's say 1 to 3 years, kind of investment. In a place like Abuja, we'll go for 3 years because typically, from the time of accessing the land to the time of maybe building, it could take between that 1 to 3 years. So I'm just going to say 1 to 3 years. So the objective is simple. You buy early, you hold briefly, and then you sell strategically, or we call it exiting strategically, right? Because, and as easy as I've said it now, it is not necessarily as simple as that. However, that is why we're having this conversation today, because there's a strategy to it. Now, what most people that enjoy the short-term land flipping thingy, or you're looking to invest in real estate, but you're not looking to build or to hold it for a very, very long time. Now, here's the strategy that that is being used, and here's exactly what you should be looking out for. Now, the best opportunities are usually found during the pre-sale stage.
Exactly.
And like a wise man said, he said, opportunities are only opportunities in hindsight.
True.
So actually, at the time of assessing the opportunity, you really do not know that that's an opportunity. However, with real estate, the signs and the signs are usually there. Okay, and so the strategy is coming in when awareness is low. So entry prices are low too at that point. And so competition is minimal. Because normally when awareness is high, it means that confidence on buyers too has increased. And when confidence from buyers have increased, prices naturally increases as well, right? So the three things, like I said, first, they buy before major development. So what very intelligent people that do this land flipping in a strategic way, they buy before major developments. Of course, they buy before all the approvals have come, building approvals. Recently someone reached out to me and said, oh, this our project at Apuasa, has the building approval come out? I said, no. He now said that when the building approval is out, I should let him know. And I said, but by then, it will be like twice or three times the price. Like, why won't you? He said, oh, okay. And me, I won't push because everybody knows what you want to achieve, right? I, unknown to him, before the building approval, because it will come out. It will come out, right? And so before those approvals are out, you buy at that point. When they are out and then construction has started, normally, and this is not even to exaggerate or hype, normally from the point of entry to the point of all those approvals out, the price is almost twice or sometimes above twice. All right? And so they buy before infrastructure, before approvals, before people start building confidence in the project. By then, buyers' confidence too has not increased like that. The normal people, that's why we started by saying, if you buy real estate like every other person, then you're leaving a lot of money on the table, because normal people usually wait till they start seeing something. They start seeing tractor on the side, they start seeing fences going up or building and all of that. And so that is simply it. Once you have done your due diligence, you understand the person that is selling. The best thing is, before the place look like it, you key in, you take the chunk you can afford at that point, and then when approvals and buildings have started coming up on site, then you flip. Is as clear as day as that. Of course, you need a bit of guidance, a bit of direction, but that, ladies and gentlemen, is the short-term, land banking strategy.
So the second one we're going to look at is the long-term land banking strategy. When he started, he mentioned that we're talking about two strategies today, the short-term and the long-term.
Yes.
So the long-term strategy basically is one of the strategies in real estate that a lot of people make huge returns on.
Yes.
And then it is a game of patience. So you hear stories where people say, oh, I bought land 15 years ago in a particular location. I didn't fence the land. I didn't do anything on the land. But after so many years, this land moved from, let's say, 1.5 million to 90 million naira a plot. I also heard of a story of someone who bought land in Guzape. I think about 10 plots in Guzape when Guzape was newly carved out from Asokoro, where it was just bush and a lot of people were ignoring.
They were avoiding
it. They didn't want to. They're like, why will I live in bush? What am I buying bush for? But this man bought 10 plots. And just a few years down the line, each of those plots is selling for over 100 million naira. Imagine. And the same people who were asking him why he's buying land in that location are the same people asking him, guy, how you take do this thing? You know, so it's a game of patience, right? And for people who do this, most times there are certain things that they pay attention to. Yes. They understand the fact that it is not it's not about chasing quick returns. Yes. Just like you mentioned, some people would start their land banking journey today, and tomorrow, 3 months is even far. Tomorrow they'll start asking you, how far have I made 1 naira on my investment, right? So they are focused on future growth. So because they are focused on future growth, there are certain things they put into consideration before going ahead with this long-term land banking strategy, which is the first on my list is emerging locations, right? So they don't just go to locations that are fully developed. Yes. Remember in the beginning we said timing. Timing is very important. So because these locations are just coming up, it will take more time for them to be fully developed. Yes. At the same time, because you buy in these locations early enough, while you're waiting for the location to be fully developed, the value of your land will be increasing as time goes on, right? And again, they study growth areas. So for example, a city like Abuja, their eyes and their ears are open on the ground. Where is development heading to? So when we talk about growth areas, those are the areas that infrastructure development is heading to, because basically that is one of the key drivers of, you know, development and property value in any place at all in this world. So they look out for where is the government constructing roads, where are people buying, you know, and then they begin to look at those places, pay attention, and also go there. So the moment they see that there's a road construction currently going on in a particular location, they just go there quickly and start searching, is there land available here? How many hectares can I buy ahead of time? And the second thing they also look at is population movement. So another thing is when people begin to go to these areas that are just coming up, they also watch out, how is the population increasing in that area? Because the next thing that follows is the population growth, right? So when they see these things, they begin to make their moves really, really early. So they also pay attention to future infrastructure plans. So the government can announce that they plan to or they intend to, you know, bring infrastructure to so and so place. Like the recent one that happened where in Abuja here, the FCT minister announced that he'll be relocating the Apple mechanic down to Apple, right? As a fact that there's a major road construction along that Apple Karshi Expressway, he intends to move the Apple mechanic down there, right? So they pay attention to things like that. And then before you know it, someone is out and like, oh, I heard something is going to happen in Apple mechanic. So Apple was sorry. How do I position myself early enough so that I can benefit from this, right? So another important thing is most of these property buyers understand that cities expand. They don't stay the same forever. So they're not really bothered, right? Once they confirm, once they look out for the signs, like he mentioned, and everything ticks, they just go ahead and put in their money there. And before you know it, truly, the city begins to expand. And especially for a city like Abuja that has been designed with expansion in mind right from the very beginning, right? So when all of these things happen, the value of land follows, and then people who bought into these locations early enough eventually become the biggest, you know, winners, right? So for a city like Abuja, just like you mentioned, one of the best strategy you can use here is the short-term short-term land banking strategy, like we mentioned. The the long-term land banking strategy can be applied in other states. But when it comes to Abuja, you just have to focus more on the short-term land banking strategy. Why? Because of the law that has been enforced right here in Abuja, right? So Abuja gives you max 2 to 3 years to develop your land once you build. So if you intend to do land banking in Abuja, you should be looking forward to the land flipping strategy, more importantly. So this is why, like we said earlier, most of the biggest success stories that come from land banking are people who bought years before everyone else arrived, years before everyone else noticed those particular locations.
This is very profound, and I mean, these are the secrets of the people who make a lot of money from the Abuja real estate. So I'm going to ask you a question. Which are you? Are you the short-term land banking kind of person or the long-term land banking? There are a few things I'm going to add to what she said about the long-term land banking strategies. So one of the ways that people do that within the city of Abuja is to buy in suburban areas that are close to Abuja town. So they are not necessarily Abuja, but they share infrastructure with Abuja. For instance, Karachi area or the Asokoro Phase 2. Asokoro, that's behind Nav Valley, that area. A lot of lands there. I'm not talking about the area council lands. I'm talking about the Nasarawa title lands that also have, that share, very close proximity with Abuja. And so they share infrastructure. As a matter of fact, a lot of people that work within Central Business District or within, town, they live in such kind of areas. And so they just commute because it's a straight road or some very tarred road from, from the main town to those locations. So that's another strategy that people use for the long-term banking strategy. So which are you? What kind of buyer, what kind of investor are you? So in summary, there are three major such locations. The second is in right timing. You need to come in on time. You need to come in within that window of the pre-launch, because that will give you the highest returns possible. As a matter of fact, what happens at such times is that you buy almost at the same price with the person that is selling to you, because literally there's nothing much per se done on the land, and so there's no much monetary value put into the land, and so the margin is usually not so high. And then lastly, the right exit plan. So you should also know the right time to exit. And of course, the biggest opportunities are usually found before everyone else sees it, right? And this is why we're bringing such conversations your way today.
So if you've been following us from the very beginning up until this moment, then we believe you've been getting value so far. So kindly just let us know in the description. There's a number there. If you have suggestions, if you have questions concerning this topic, just let us know. So if you're looking for locations around Abuja, where infrastructure and development is creating the next wave of opportunities that would give you an avenue to do land banking, then just call that number in the description that we've talked about, and we would guide you through the entire process. Absolutely. And of course, we have something like that for you. We have a project that is coming up in one of those emerging locations right here in Abuja. And as a matter of fact, now is the right timing for you to take advantage of that. So do reach out as well. So if you've been enjoying this so far, kindly like, subscribe to the channel, and also share to other people, to your friends, to your family, to your colleagues, so that they also can get value and take advantage of such opportunities anytime. So Till we come your way again, have a fantastic day.
Bye for now.